Mario's not only the face of Nintendo, but one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. And throughout all of his mega successful games, not everything is bound to be perfect. So hey guys, this is PJ from the Switch Stop, and here are some of the worst Mario levels of all time. Now starting off here with the OG Super Mario Bros, I'm gonna go with World 8-3 just near the end of the game. Now this level is just super slow, there are way too many Hammer Bros at every step you take, and really the only saving grace is a Fire Flower to aid you along the way. And after going through all of that, there's a bunch of one block jumps floating over a pit to where if you have the slightest mess up, you're dead. Moving on here to the lost levels, I'm gonna go with World 7-3, and honestly, this one has to be one of the worst Mario levels in history, and I'm not even kidding. This entire level consists of heavy wind and you bouncing off from spring to spring in order to complete the level. It's rage-inducing, horribly made, and just an overall awful experience. Next up with Super Mario Bros. 2, I'm going with level 1-2 because this is the first level where this thing appears. Now I know this game is notoriously known for being just weird, let's just say, but Phanto was another level of annoying. It was like the angry sun from Mario 3, but 10 times worse. I mean, it could follow you through other rooms, screens, and it's basically unkillable. Just an awful experience. For Mario 3, I'm going with World 8-Tank. This is just a slow side scroller avoiding the typical cannonballs and bob-ombs, just like what you face throughout the entire game. It's super linear with it just being completely flat, unlike some other tank levels where at least you're traveling up and down. And honestly, playing through this, I literally just hold right the entire time due to sheer boredom. Moving on to the beginning of handheld Mario, I'm gonna go with World 4-1 of Super Mario Land. Now this level just felt like a huge mess to me. I mean, there's so little space to move around here with so many enemies and piranha plants coming out of pipes. And if you don't have a Fire Flower here, expect some game overs for sure. Moving on to Super Mario World, its worst level has to be Tubular from the Special Zone. Now in this level, correctly named, there's no ground or anything. You're traveling from pipe to pipe using the P-balloon while trying to dodge baseballs from chucks on top of single coin blocks and pipes. This is just so infuriating. Moving on to Super Mario Land 2, honestly just the entire space zone. This entire area really tricks you because despite it being set in space as the name entails, the mechanics feel like you're in a weird underwater level, but this is an entire world. With the gravity messed up, having to time odd jumps, and honestly having one of the most annoying boss fights in Mario history at the end of this world, this one is just so far from good. To where all of 3D Mario started in Super Mario 64, I'm gonna take Dire Docks. This level is honestly one that I dread anytime when I'm going back to 100% the game. It's a very generic water level, slow, and I honestly just don't enjoy it at all. The only glimmer of good in this level has to be the music, to be honest, but past that, this far and away has to be the worst. Now, although I think Sunshine is the greatest 3D Mario game out there, there's definitely a few notable levels here that I find just to be nauseating to play through in order to get all of the shines. Like the infamous Pachinko machine where it's a gamble to hit the correct flood movement to get red coins, or Corona Mountain where you're controlling a glitchy boat in lava trying to collect all of the blue coins. But the one that has to do it for me is a lily pad ride. I mean, this can just be unbearable. It's already half the struggle trying to get to the level because you have to ride a Yoshi, hop on a boat so you can spray the goop in a pipe halfway across the main area of the game, and when you get to the level, you better have a lot of lives because this leaf is just as, if not more buggy than the boat in Corona Mountain. You're spraying flood from the leaf, trying to aim to get the red coins along the way, and if you miss one, well, you're screwed because going back with flood is near impossible. Shifting gears back to handheld with New Super Mario Bros. DS, I'm going with World 2-Castle. Now, when you look at this level, it's not inherently bad at all as it's just a typical 2D Mario castle, but if you want to access one of the game's 8 worlds via the hidden exit, you have to beat this level with a mini mushroom. Not only is the boss's hitbox super janky, but you're literally one hit. There's zero room for error. And if you're lucky enough to have a mini mushroom in your item slot, then at least you can get through the level without it, but you still have to beat the boss with it. Now, at most, they should have locked one level behind this exit, but locking an entire world behind this exit is insane. And you know what else is insane? The fact that you're not subscribed to Switch Stop yet. Yeah, let's just move on. Moving on to Super Mario Galaxy 1, I'm gonna have to go with the Dreadnought Galaxy. Now, I've never liked this one, and it's not super visually interesting compared to the other masterpieces that are in Super Mario Galaxy. And honestly, I just don't like the design of these Gearmo creatures. Also, there's this awful star. Genuinely one of the few Mario levels that is garbage from a game design perspective. Moving on to New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I'm gonna go with World 9-7. Now, this level may look easy and painless within the first look, but when you realize that the floor is made of frozen coins, which are constantly being burned by piranha plants of Fire Bros, it is so rage-inducing. You'll need the propeller suit here to 100% the level, and yet with all the Fire Bros while trying to get all the star coins, it's near impossible to keep the suit the entire way. Now, moving on to the second Galaxy game, I'm gonna go with Battle Belt Galaxy. This entire level consists of you going from small planet to planet, defeating enemies and moving on. It's so bare bones and could have been executed so much better than it actually was, which funnily enough describes most of Galaxy 2 for me. Moving to Super Mario 3D Land, I'm gonna have to go with Special World 2-1. Now, this is just another slow side scroller in which you're climbing a slanted tower. And as you might be able to tell throughout the list, I'm not the biggest fan of these side scrollers. But while 3D Land was nowhere near as good as its sequel 3D World, this level just feels so dry, and especially for it being labeled a special world, I would not be able to tell this whatsoever if it wasn't labeled as such. Moving on to New Super Mario Bros. 2, I'm gonna go with World 1-Rainbow. This is just simply due to the fact that this is the first appearance of this monstrosity that are all the rainbow levels in the game. Now, the levels are colorful and pleasing to look at for the most part, but come on, Nintendo. I get the whole gimmick of this game was coins, and more coins, but this was just way overdoing it. Moving to New Super Mario Bros. U, I'm gonna go with Meteor Mode 8-1. Now, at first glance, this seems fine. It's just a lava level with fireballs raining down from the sky, but then you remember that the same level being 8-1 in New Super Mario Bros. Wii is also a lava level with the gimmick being fire raining down from the sky, and same with New Super Mario Bros. World 2 6-1, in which World 6 being that game's final world equivalent of World 8 is the same thing. Now, this isn't a bad level in any sense, but it's the third straight game to do this exact same gimmick in the first level in the lava world. Honestly, just loses points for lack of originality. Now, moving on here to 3D World, it would be just wrong to take this one because Thomas loves 3D World like no other.
Thank you, PJ. I think Super Mario 3D World is one of the best 3D Marios of all time, but unfortunately, it does have a couple of stinker levels.
Hey, Stinky!
One of them being Cosmic Cannon Cluster. This is definitely the worst level in the game. I wanted to choose an enemy level where all you do is, go fight the Charging Chucks or whatever, fight the Galoombas, but those don't even really count as levels, and I wanted to be fair. Cosmic Cannon Cluster, the last level in World Star, is just not fun. There's like a 2.5-minute auto-scrolling water section in here, which is just so boring. And then there's also this part where you have to aim with the cannon on top of your head, and you have to hit these little blocks that are far away, but unfortunately, you can only point in 8 directions in this game, which makes actually aiming to hit a far-off target almost impossible. In a game full of excellent level design and beautifully crafted levels, this one feels like an AI made it. It's just not that fun.
Thanks, Thomas. Next up, we got Super Mario Odyssey. Now, it's so difficult to find a bad kingdom in this game because it's so perfect in my opinion, but the Cloud Kingdom was just very bland to me throughout all of my playthroughs of Odyssey. It's forgettable and in no way bad, but one kingdom has to go here. And lastly here to Bowser's Fury, it's so difficult once again to find a bad level in here just because this game is so short and yet so polished. But with that being said, I've got to go with Mount Magmeow. While it's a visually interesting finale, it actually tanks the FPS when Bowser's in Fury mode, which is one of the only times in the Mario series I can say that. The first half of this level really isn't platforming. It's a slow ride on a switch panel, which is kind of the equivalent of a loading screen. Now, in no way this is a bad section of Bowser's Fury, but it's just not as great as the others for sure. And with that out of the way, those are the worst Mario levels in my opinion. Make sure to leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of my list, and check out this video on the screen where Thomas covered the best Mario levels of all time.